So I'm going to show you a little video. I've noticed after a bit of research there isn't much on YouTube about this job on the early Mercedes T207D, T208D gear selector arm bushes. The ones on our van are worn, so I'm going to replace them. The first thing to do is to jack the vehicle up and put it on axle stands securely, because the access to the linkages is on this side of the van, namely the passenger side. So it gives you a little bit more room to just get under there and do it. The bushes we are going to be replacing are these. These come in a kit. As you can see, they're almost like a little grommet type bush. If I empty them out, there you go. You've got 3 of these and 3 of these. They are slightly different, as you can see. There is this one. You've got 3 of those, and you've got 3 of these. And what happens is these basically wear where the gear selector arm bushes end up coming off, and you can't select gear or the van gets stuck in gear. So let's go underneath and show you what we're doing. Always use a nice, same again as you can see there, got another axle stand at the back, on the front and the jack. So go underneath and show you what we're talking about. Here we are. The first thing I've done before I even start attempting to work on this is to clean the linkages up with some brake cleaner and a brush. Just a little paintbrush will do. So you've got 3 selectors there, and at the top there you can see there are another 3 selectors. What happens is these bushes wear. I can show you with this one. It's loose. And this top one, it's loose. Go to this side, and this middle one in particular, if I can show you, that is the one that actually came off. So there we are, that comes off. That's because that bush that I've just shown you in the kit is worn to the point where this can't stay on. Slots back on for now, which isn't really good enough, and then it just pulls off, which isn't right, because then you can't select gear or it could get stuck in gear. This one is loose also, and the one at the back of there, if I can move that one out of the way, is very loose. So what we're going to do, as you can see, I've used the brake clean to clean the linkages and clean everything up. Makes it much easier to work on, less dirty. So yeah, I think what we're going to do is, I'm going to start with probably, I mean, that one as well. Look at that, that's just literally hanging loose there, apart from the clip that's holding it on. Then that is all that's really holding it on. So yeah, these definitely need some attention. We're going to do this video in stages. So this is the first stage, show you what's wrong, show you what's needed before you even start working on these. Use a little lamp there to give yourself a little bit more light. So there's the first new bush fitted. It slots into there, like as you can see. If I can show you an old bush, which is here. There's a worn bush. It should have a lip on, if that focuses properly, this side, like there's on that side, but you can see there isn't one because it's just completely worn. And that is why the selector arms slide off when they shouldn't do, and that causes the problem with being stuck in gear or changing gear. So a new bush is in that there, and then that arm will go, if you can see this, onto there, the one in the centre, and then on the end of that goes a little circlip. A bit fidgety. You just got to do it one at a time and take your time. It's not a job you want to be doing in winter when it's freezing cold. But and so you can see the point now of cleaning all this up with brake cleaner fluid. Or WD-40 would do it, or even a bit of petrol, with a little paintbrush would get all that gunk off. So yeah, there's one done. So that's going to be put back into place now, and then I will repeat the process with probably this one at the back, because that's well its way out. So, bush number 1, bush number 2, bush number 3. If I put it to the side there, you can probably see it a little bit better. New bush in there. That one's hard to see. New bush in the middle one. And you can see that one better. A new bush in that one. A little circlip that goes on the end there, that can be a bit fidgety. Just make sure that goes back on properly, otherwise this arm will just slide off. There you go, you can see that better. Brand new bush in there, brand new bush in there, brand new bush in there. So that's 3 of 6 done. I'll show you the old bushes, if I can manoeuvre my camera while it's under the vehicle. So, old bush, old bush, old bush. Basically scrap there. So, these 3 bushes, which bush is, which is that one, you can see the difference there with that one, how warm that is on the arm, how sloppy it is. It shouldn't be like that. That's literally had it, that bush. I can actually feel it on my fingers. The bush is falling apart. This is the one I've replaced just. Look at that, a nice solid fix. Got a little clip on the back there that you have to take off, and then press the bush into this arm. There's the bush, press that into this, and this clips back in there with this clip on the end. Here's the old bush, which was taken off from here. You can see the state of that, literally collapsed. Next one will be this top one, which is going to be a bit tricky. So I think what I'm going to do is to replace that one. I'm going to take this arm off, making sure that where this line is here at the bottom, you put a little scrape mark with a screwdriver on the gearbox casing in line with this slot. So make sure when you put this back on, because this is going to have to come off to do this top bush, this will line up with a scrape mark on the casing, because if it doesn't, you're going to have problems changing gear or even getting gears. So make sure that you remember this is already set in a position where you can get all the gears. So little scrape mark there to match up with this slit here. This will come off. I can remove this completely to fit this new top bush, which will be much easier. But yep, just make sure that goes back on in the same place. And then it will probably be a case of do the same with the last one, this top one. This one wasn't so bad, the bottom one, because I've got easy access to the bottom bush. But the 2 at the top, that one and that one, are a bit trickier. So it's going to be easy, just take off the, obviously take off the clip. Take off the clip, pull this arm, push this arm out, same with the top one, and then remove these and fit the bushes with these arms off, and then just replace the arms. That will definitely be easier. And basically they're the only 2 I've got left to do. It's not a massive job, it's a bit fidgety, but by raising the vehicle, putting it on axle stands, it definitely gives you more access under this side. and also cleaning everything up before you start work on it, like I said, with brake cleaner and the paintbrush. When this is all done, I'll re-lubricate all these linkages assembly for the gearbox, because in the past I've noticed that prior to going on a long journey in it or doing a few miles in it, I've lubed everything with WD-40, and it does make the gearbox a much more slicker, smooth gear change. So yeah, there you are. That pretty much ends the video. I'll just show you when I've completed this job that it's all done, so you can see. There we go. So with this particular arm, it goes onto here with the splines, and then attaches onto here. This one would have been too difficult to fit the new bushing bit at the top, so what I've done is, I'll just show you this. I've took this arm off, which fits basically, it's very windy today, fits onto there. The thing to do is to, if I can just place that on there and show you what I've done. You need to make sure that when you take this off, it lines back up exactly on the splines, because otherwise it's going to affect the gear change. So what I've done is, where this little gap is here, which the bolt goes through here and tightens up onto the splines, I've just made a little scratch mark on the casing, so when this goes back on, this gap here will line up exactly with the scratch mark. And then the next job would be to press the new bush into the top of the arm, which you can see there. There's the bush that's come out of it. Totally destroyed, that is. So next I'll show you the process of putting the new bush in. So there we go. That is a new bush pressed into the arm. You can see I've used this grease, which is good stuff. I use this all the time. You can basically press it in with a pair of long nose pliers, screwdriver. Just be careful not to damage the bush. So that's nicely greased up. Also put a little bit of grease in there on the splines. That will look after the splines a bit more, and also just adds a bit of lubrication. So that arm's going to go back on there, and we'll show you when this one's on. So there we go. You can see the new bush fitted in there. Once the phone focuses, nicely greased up. Same with this one. That one is done. These three are done, which are a bit more fidgety. You can actually do this one here without taking the arm off, because you've got a bit more access, as you can see, but obviously with that one there isn't much room in there to do it. So yeah, it was easy to take this arm off, and you can see the little scrape mark I put on the casing to line up with this gap. So that's gone on in exactly the same position. Then the last thing to do then was to try the gearbox, take it out on the road, and it should be like a Swiss watch. So thanks for watching this video. There's not much online about doing this job, and it is quite a common problem with these early Sprinter engines, so I'm hoping this video will be very helpful for those that need to do this job. It is doable at home, as long as you've got the right tools and you're a bit of a contortionist underneath the van. The seal kit, should I say the bush kits, can be ordered through most Mercedes-Benz parts dealerships, and you can get them on mail order, which I did mine. I think it worked out about £13 or maybe a little bit more for the whole bush kit, so not a lot of money for what is a very good remedy to your gearbox being a lot smoother. Thanks for watching.